right. Hello, guys. Today we're going to talk about the quadratic formula. The quadratic formula is just another way to solve quadratic equations that are in the form y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Remember, to solve just means to find the x-intercepts or the zeros. So our y would be 0. And then we have our ax squared plus bx plus c. A, b, and c stand for numbers. And so those numbers we end up plugging into this quadratic formula where we see b, a, c. And then once we plug it in, we simplify it and we come up with our x-intercepts or our zeros. So let's get to it. So let's say, for example, we want to solve 3x squared plus 6x plus 3 equals 0. First, we need to identify our a, b, and c. So like here, a is 3, b is 6, and c is 3. And we know they're all positive because they're plus signs here in between. So there are no negatives. All right, now let's keep going. So now that we've identified our a, b, and c, we can plug in these numbers into this big formula right here, okay? We can just plug in the numbers, and that's what we're going to do. So notice there's a built-in minus sign, or negative rather. So this will be negative, right? And then our b. Since b is 6, we're going to say negative 6, and then plus or minus the square root of. And then since our b is 6, again, we're going to put 6 in parentheses squared minus 4 times our a times our c. A here is 3. C here is 3. And so what we're going to do to make our lives simpler is we're going to end up basically taking what's underneath the radical and just plug it in the calculator to simplify it, just like it is. And then you'll get a simplified answer. So let's finish it though. So all of it is going to be divided by 2a. That means 2 times 3 in our case. So then from here we just simplify. This will be negative 6 plus or minus, and then we say the square root of. Now I want you to take a moment, because you can do this. So pick up your calculator and plug in exactly what you see. Parentheses 6 squared minus 4 times 3, and then tell me what you get. What you should get is 0. You should get 0. And then divide it by 2 times 3 is 6. The square root of 0 is just 0. So anything after the negative 6, we can actually just kind of X out here. And so our answer is actually X equals negative 6 divided by 6, which is negative 1. All right. Now we're going to go to the second example, because maybe it's like, man, that's too much. All right, here we go. Don't give up. Just the first example. Here we go. Okay, all of that for it not to erase. All right. Okay. So let's say in number 2, we have 2x squared minus 5x plus 3 equals 0. All right, remember first, we need to identify our a, b, and c so we can plug it into the quadratic formula. So our a is 2. Our b is, since the minus sign, is going to be negative 5. And our c is 3. Okay. Now that we've identified the a, b, and c, we're going to plug it into the formula. So we have x equals, and we say negative b. I like to say opposite of b. Think of the minus as opposite. So we take the opposite of negative 5, right? Because the negative of negative 5 is just positive 5. So 5 plus or minus the square root of, in parentheses, we're going to put the b. So negative 5 squared minus 4 times a times c. Remember, a is 2, C is 3, so that's what we're going to be plugging in. And all of that is being divided by 2a, or 2 times 2. From here, what you're going to do is grab your calculator, and it's not complicated. All you're doing is plugging this in the way that you see it, exactly the way that you see it. And then hit enter. Feel free to press pause. I'm going to continue going. So when you simplify this, this becomes x equals positive 5 plus or minus the square root of all of that, but we should have gotten 1. And then divided by 2 times 2, which is 4. From here, we're going to actually separate because there is something here. We know that the square root of 1 is just 1. So then we're going to the left, we're going to write 5 plus 1 divided by 4. And to the right over here, we're going to write 5 minus 1 divided by 4. And we just have to divide it because we're going to end up with 2 zeros here. So we got to break down this plus or minus, okay? Separate them. So 5 plus 1 is 6. And 6 divided by 4, hey, that ends up giving us 1.5. But if you change it back to a fraction, it'll give you 3 halves. All right, that's one of the zeros or x-intercepts. Now over here to the right, we have 5 minus 1, which is 4. And 4 divided by 4 is 1. So our solutions are 3 over 2 and 1. All right, from here, what we're going to do is go on to number 3. Now this one, the instructions are a bit different because it says find the zeros. But don't forget, that just means we need to turn the y to 0. And there we go. All right, we're going to go ahead and identify our A, B, and C, which is not 3x. Oh my God, I'm making this. There we go. Our B is -4 and our C is -4. From here, all we got to do is just plug it into our equation. So it's x equals -b, or I like to say the opposite of b. So +4 plus or minus the square root of -4 quantity squared minus 4, a, which is 3, and then c, which is -4 divided by 2 times 3. Remember, all you got to do is plug in what's underneath into the calculator, and it's going to give you an answer. This one should give you 4 plus or minus the square root of, if you want to work this out, feel free to press pause. So this is the square root of 64. If I'm not mistaken, let me make sure. That's right. Divided by 6. So that is 4 plus or minus 8 divided by 6. This is the point where we separate, right? So we have one that is, and I'm just going to kind of move this over here for lack of space. This is 4 plus 8 divided by 6 and 4 minus 8 divided by 6. 4 plus 8 is 12. 12 divided by 6 is 2. Here, 4 minus 8 is -4 divided by 6. This becomes -2/3. Okay. Now you have some practice here. All right. You're going to do the even side. So let's do this left side over here. Let's take note of 8. It says 2m squared minus 7m minus 13 equals -10. Remember, when we're solving, it always needs to be equal to 0. So we need to add 10 here to both sides. And this becomes 2m squared minus 7m minus 3 equals 0. And then from here, you identify your a, b, and c, which is 2, -7, and -3. And you can finish the rest. All right. Make sure you turn it in at the end of class. If you get done early or anything like that, you feel free to go to CC11 in iExcel and complete that practice.